You're watching Southeast Nebraska's news leader, News Channel Nebraska. Evening edition starts now.
A cool October evening and harvesting is well underway at Husa Farms. It's not uncommon to hear of families who have farmed for generations in this area, and the Husa family has been part of that custom. For 125 years, this family has put their soul and sweat into these fields. Today, a father and son carry on that tradition with the same eagerness.
This farm, family farm, it would not go without saying that my great-grandpa started this, bought it, and actually cropped it out and handed it on to his dad, and then, of course, my dad. And we are very proud of that fact, that it's been in the family for 125 years. With that said, we could not do it without our wives involved, and my son just got married, so very satisfying, and hope that she holds on to that dear aspect of the family farm. Of course, there's a lot of hard times, a lot of good stories about how the family saved the farm in the 30s, and won't go into that, but we just know long stories and long nights, long days, and it's been really satisfying to come back and see my son love it as much as I do.
Your dad's your boss?
Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
Good answer.
Yeah, very proud of it. It used to be back in the day, you work real hard and you can get by, but now there's a lot of inputs you put into the crops and everything else. There's just a lot more involved nowadays.
The son and father duo gave me a brief look into what a day's work is like.
Usually in the mornings we'll wake up early and make sure the combines and the trucks and everything are fueled up and ready to go and greased. We try to get started as soon as the dew wears off. Usually then we hit it hard pretty much all day until it gets tough at night, and make sure everything's full if we can, and do it all over again. We've had a good couple of weeks, the past 2 weeks here, and prior to that week we had a lot of rain, so we'd get a good couple of days in, but that was about it. This last couple of weeks, beans are getting really close to being done, and then our main focus will be corn.
Tradition, hard work, family values, and an honest living. A farmer's job isn't easy and often overlooked if you haven't been raised in the Midwest. A flyover state to some. But for Nebraskans, home is where you tell time by the growth of the corn stalks, and the dirt road that leads you to Grandma's house can't be found on GPS.
As we were getting parts, of course, farmers break down, and my wife drove me in to get some parts, and she texted me later on that day. She said she saw a good phrase at the implement store that, always be safe, make sure that you take your time. So I would say that during this harvest season, it's a very dangerous job, and very satisfying, but very dangerous, and long days, long nights, and hope that everybody is safe out there.
I'm here in Avoca, Nebraska for the annual Quack-Off, which brings thousands of people here every year. The Quack-Off takes place every January. To participate, people come from all over to pay $20 to rent a duck and race it. All of the proceeds go to the Avoca Volunteer Fire Department, which features 12 firefighters and 57 square miles of coverage area. The weather was beautiful, and many had a great time.
I love the Quack-Off. I love the Quack-Off.
We think Donald Trump would be a huge supporter of the Quack-Off. We think it would be part of his platform to make America great again.
It's a great American event.
Yeah.
Anything else anybody wants to say?
We just love the Quack-Off. It's absolutely a great
Atmosphere.
It's a good cause.
Yeah.
It really
We like
is.
to support the local volunteer fire department.
People were parked up and down every street in Avoca to come watch, participate, or simply enjoy themselves. Reporting in Avoca, I'm Jay Hanna, News Channel Nebraska.
As traffic increases and Orange Boulevard becomes more than just a passing light, there is one more way to tell that school is starting at Beatrice High School. There are more than just football players in the House of Orange. The Beatrice Marching Band has begun practice on the field. In the morning, the band works routines that will be performed at 4 different competitions and during halftime of home football games. Band director Andrew Johnson says the hardest part is getting everyone back on the field to march.
The biggest thing is just getting these kids back out here. They're asked to do a whole lot of things all at once, not just playing their music now like we do the rest of the year, but also moving around a specific way on the field and being in a specific spot on the field. So there's just a whole lot of stuff that they're asked to do all at once in marching band.
This year's show is called A Light from Within and is a 3-part performance that is based from a quote that is broken down into 3 segments. Johnson says the quote will play over the PA system during performances. The 4th-year teacher says tradition and pageantry of football and marching band is what helps give off so much energy.
There's nothing like seeing that band come in when those lights are starting to take hold on a Friday night and they come in to play, fight songs and the national anthem and that type of thing. And then the band has their moment at halftime to do their thing, kind of around the game. And we're here to cheer on the football team. We're some of their biggest fans because the better they do, the longer we get to keep playing. And we just enjoy playing and performing. So it's great when our teams do well and we get to keep playing.
The Beatrice High School Marching Band has an open exhibition Tuesday, August 9th at 7:30 p.m. in the House of Orange. The public can come and watch the band perform music from their show and some of the routines as well. Reporting in Beatrice at the House of Orange, I'm Lauren Hubka, News Channel Nebraska.
The Endicott Town Hall Players will debut Radio Razzle Dazzle at the Endicott Town Hall Friday, April 8th at 7 p.m. with a Sunday matinee at 2 p.m. Director Cheryl McAtee says the cast has been rehearsing since January.
It's a fantastic play. They'll be very entertained. The cast and the crew are just wonderful.
Tickets are $7 in advance and $10 the day of the show. All proceeds from ticket sales are donated to the village for various projects. Proceeds from cookies sold at the show go to the Endicott Town Hall Players Fund to support next year's performance. Radio Razzle Dazzle marks the 10th performance for the Endicott Town Hall Players. In Endicott, I'm Christina Widener, News Channel Nebraska. Students at Thayer Central High School are developing key problem-solving skills with the use of drones. The drones were purchased in January of 2016 with a grant from the Rotary Club in Hebron. They can be operated using an iPad or tablet with an application called Tickle, and the operator controls them by writing specific codes.
And then since we've got them, we also found another app that's called Free Flight, which they can just remote control them. So they like doing some of both.
Math instructor Christy Lukert says computer programming is big in education and forces students to think sequentially.
I basically just use the drones in all my classes. Just, if we have a day where we don't have a lot going on, or like a track day like today, then they can just fly them. So they're doing coding. It's not really part of the math class, but it's still good for them, problem solving.
Students understand the educational value behind the drones, but also enjoy flying them and watching them crash.
They really teach you a lot just about trial and error, especially when you're programming it. You just see what works and what doesn't work.
And then I think the fun part is seeing it actually succeed, or even when it fails, it's kind of fun to see it tumble down.
Reporting at Thayer Central High School in Hebron, I'm Christina Widener, News Channel Nebraska.
Real people, real stories being represented through cutout figures. October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and Hope Crisis Center is providing a voice for those victims who are no longer with us.
Part of the Silent Initiative movement is about is the reality of it. People don't want to accept that it happens in small communities. People don't want to admit that it goes on in our families or our churches, or just if it's not directly happening to you or affecting you, it's one of those things we kind of try not to, we isolate, we don't pay a lot of attention to.
The figures currently stand in Indian Creek Mall in Beatrice and have moved from county to county to help spread awareness.
The Silent Witness Initiative basically brings life to people are getting murdered by domestic violence from spouses, acquaintance, significant others. So it is happening, and that is the reason for the movement.
Hinman hopes that the figures will stand as a reminder to those victims or witnesses that pass them to come forward, and to the abusers to stop what they're doing.
We kicked off the month with a vigil in Seward. We sometimes do that in Fairbury, but this year we made the decision to move that to Seward for the first year. So we held a candlelight vigil there, and we have our yard sign campaign, which of course moves around to our different counties, or I should say is in our different counties. So we have our yard sign campaign in York, Seward, Crete, and Fairbury this year.
Domestic violence is a pressing issue and a topic that is uncomfortable to speak about out loud. But in doing that, a life could be saved, one less tragedy, and one less cutout figure to stand each October. In Beatrice, I'm Elise Waller, News Channel, Nebraska.